لولا أن هدانا الله ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله ونشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أرسله بالهدى ودين الحق ليظهره على الدين كله وكفى بالله شهيدا. My respected brothers and sisters, may Allah's peace, His guidance, His mercy, His protection, and His forgiveness be with you in here and the day when we depart this world and be placed in our graves, and the day when we will be taken out and brought to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for His judgment, inshaAllah. Ameen. Thumma ameen, ya Rabbul Alameen. Today, inshallah, we will continue the topic of significance of Ramadan, and we will add to it the medical benefits of Ramadan according to National Institute of Health, United States Department of Health and Social Services. So these are authentic things, but when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us that وَإِن تَصُومُوا خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ إِن كُنتُمْ تَعْلَمُونَ, that if you fast, it is better for you. So look what science agrees, where science agrees and says of today, that what are the benefits of Ramadan and what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala meant by that, the antasumu khayrun lakum, that if you fast, it would be better for you. Before we get to that ayah, and inshallah for reference, we will be using the ayat of about Siyam, about fasting in Quran, mainly ayah number 183, 84, 184, 185, and so forth. But today's program, we start inshallah with quoting an ayah from Quran, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah Al-Hashr, 59th Surah, ayah number 21 says, Ba'da a'udhu billahi minash shaytanir rajim, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Law anzalna hadha al-Qur'ana ala jabalin لرأيته خاشعا متصدعا من خشية الله وتلك الأمثال نضربها للناس لعلهم يتفكرون. If we had sent down this Quran on a mountain, you would have seen it, means you have, oh people, you would have seen it humbled and rent asunder from fear and might of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we show these examples to humankind so that they may think, perhaps they may think and deeply ponder upon the ayat of Quran. It is self-explanatory, but the part where it says that لَعَلَّهُمْ يَتَفَكَّرُونَ, it comes to the scholars say in the explanation that the humankind does not read, understand, follow, and implement or ponder upon the ayat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala except a very few people. Ayadu billah. So inshallah we will use today as I said, that ayah number 184 as the reference. So we will do the recitation, and inshallah we will immediately move on to translation and the tafsir. About the ayat of Quran, not the tafsir of ayah number 184. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أياما معدودات فمن كان منكم مريضا أو على سفر فعدة من أيام أخر وعلى الذين يطيقونه فدية طعام مسكين فمن تطوع خيرا فهو خير له وأن تصوموا خير لكم إن كنتم تعلمون. صدق الله العظيم. Fasting is for a fixed number of days, but if any of you is ill or on a journey, the same number of days should be made up from other days. And as for those who can fast with difficulty, sick or older people, they can feed a poor person for each day they missed of fasting. But whoever offers on his own anything more on his own, it is better for him. If you fast, it is better for you. If you only knew. Sadaqallahu al-Azim. The tafsir of this ayah about significance of Quran and the medical benefits of Quran. Ramadan also called, this month of Ramadan is also called the month of Quran. We all know that. It does not mean that we should just recite or read Quran in Taraweeh, but it means that this is the time that we must make more efforts in this month to understand and practice Quran, so we learn enough to practice the legislations of Quran throughout the year. It's a refresher course which teaches us how to live our life in the other 11 months. We just go back to our routine after Ramadan. This ayah was revealed, my respected brothers and sisters, in the second year of after Hijrah, when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam migrated from Makkah to Medina al-Munawwarah, and that was the time before Battle of Badr, the first battle, Ghazwat Badr. Sahih al-Bukhari and Sahih Muslim recorded Sayyidina Aisha radiyallahu anha and Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Umar radiyallahu anh saying that in the early days of Islam, the day of Ashura was the day of fasting. This fixed 30 days or 29 days of fasting, the orders were not sent by that time. It was left upon people, when this ayah came, it was left upon people, and the ayah before that people, if they wish to fast, and those who cannot fast or would not fast, they can feed one person per day of missing fast, and later on, if they can, fast the missing days. If 1 year after that, the third year of the migration, after the Battle of Badr, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent ayah number 285. And that ayah contained more injunctions and guidance of how to fast during the month of Ramadan. Allah ordained the believers to abstain from food, drink, and espousal physical relationship from dawn to dusk in that specific month, 29 days or 30 days. And remember, there are no 31 days in a lunar calendar. It's 29 or 30. So aside from other acts, these were the three main acts that they have to stay away from food and drink and spousal relationship. And aside from other bad acts and deeds which are prohibited, not through Ramadan, but throughout your life, those acts are prohibited throughout your life. So it is not a person stop smoking or stop drinking or stop cursing only in the month of Ramadan, and then when the Ramadan is gone, so is our faith and so is our belief in the injunctions of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. These are the injunctions for the rest of our life. The month of Ramadan teaches us that when Allah ordains us, this is Tafsir As-Siddi, when Allah ordains, even the permissible things, food and water is permissible, but when Allah ordains, even the permissible things become prohibited. Permissible things become prohibited. It teaches you, the scholar is such a wonderful point he brings, that he says that it means that if the permissible, by the ordinance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, by the ordinance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if the permissible things become prohibited, then what about prohibited things, which on the rest of our life? And why do we consider that? That we don't follow the prohibitions? Fasting teaches us, my respected brothers and sisters, to restrain ourselves from haram and prohibited matters. My respected brothers and sisters, you know better than I do. Haram is haram all our life, throughout our life. Halal is halal throughout our lives. We should not take it upon ourselves and go after people of what is haram and what is halal. And if we do that in ud'u ila sabili rabbika bil hikmati wal mau'izati al hasanati. That we have to use wonderful, beautiful speech and practical, personal examples of that practice ourselves. That the good words, good deeds. Don't look down at people and tell them that what you're doing is wrong. In an authentic hadith, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam has said, "O young people, how Ramadan prohibits from haram matters and prohibited acts." This is a beautiful example from Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. There is in one of the authentic hadith, he says, "O young people, whoever amongst you can afford to marry must marry, and whoever cannot should fast. It will have a sobering effect on you, and it will be shield for you from sinning." Subhanallah, sadaqallahu rasuluh. Sayyidina Mu'adh ibn Jabal commented, Sayyidina Mu'adh ibn Jabal commented, "In the beginning, those who wished to fast, fasted, and those who wished did not fast and fed a poor person for each day instead." Sahih al-Bukhari recorded Sayyidina Salama bin Ibn al-Awqa saying that when this ayah was revealed, those who did not wish to fast used to pay fidya. You know, this ayah means the ayah number which we talked about, ayah number 184, that in the beginning, that at that time the siyam was not made compulsory, obligatory on Muslims. It was an optional thing. And Sahih al-Bukhari, okay, so that was the hadith from Sahih al-Bukhari in Tafsir al-Siddi, rahmatullah alayh. Then if you look at the ayah, it says fasting is for a specified number of days, but if any of you is ill or on journey, the same number of days should be made from other days. So we will study 3 points here. And we need to understand this clearly, my respected brothers and sisters, to understand the fiqh al-zakat, fiqh al-salah, fiqh al-siyam, and we should understand what it entails. It's just not blind following that's how my dada used to do, or that's how my the father or my uncle or my parents used to do. That's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said. That is the deen. Rest of it is all, cultural practices or rituals, which has no value in Islam. If there are specific directions in some matter, culture means nothing at that time. We will study number 1, ayyaman ma'dudat, means that a specified number of days, means the days of Ramadan are counted with the sighting of moon of the new month. It doesn't mean that the entire population of 175 million will start looking for the moon. Some people say that if you don't see the moon, you shouldn't fast. Means what? I mean, people I trust, and people are knowledgeable people, and good people, cognizant people. Maybe the point is, nowadays it's very hard for us to find cognizant people among ourselves. So the counted, these are the counted days, and then you cite by the sighting of the moon of the month. The second point we discuss is faman kana minkum maridan. We stop at there. That if anyone among you is ill, what does that mean? It means 2 kind of things. The ill and old people are not allowed to fast if fasting can make their condition worse. They cannot fast. They're too old or too ill. They cannot fast. So it means that a sick person and an older person, people who have serious ailments, they take medications at the prescribed interval, and there cannot be an alternate, that they can alternate that interval instead of day, do it at night. And if they cannot change that time for some reason, and not taking medication can threaten their life, then they don't have to fast because of their age and because of their illness, the ailment they are suffering. The people who are able to fast, the second thing from this ayah is driven, that the people, those who are able to fast with difficulty, but fasting can threaten their life. It is a medical opinion, and Islam allows that. That if the life, because life has greater value than anything. Even life and sanctity of a human life is greater than the sanctity of the Kaabatullah, of the bed of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's house in Makkah al-Mukarramah. It's sanctity of human life. And this is a very famous hadith, and I don't want to go into the detail of it. That's not our topic of the day. That person who can get, his life can be threatened, but he can get up and he can start fasting in the morning. So he should start fast. If the condition, her condition worsens, becomes a threat, then they can break the fast. Because it is said, because the scholars say that if they are up in the morning and they can eat and they are fine at that time, if the suhoor time, if they are feeling okay and they feel that they can fast, then they should get up and they should take the suhoor, the early morning breakfast, early morning meal, and then if their condition worsens, break the fast. If it doesn't, you have fasted. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. The older and sick people are allowed not to fast, and also they don't have to fast for another day after Ramadan is finished and they are old and very sick and very old, so they have to make up. No, they cannot make up. They are still old, so they don't have to make up. Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Abbas and Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiyallahu anhum said that those old men and women are required to pay fidya, feeding a poor, for the one whole day's meal. It's not one meal only. One whole day's meal. You can say, I miss my suhoor, I miss my iftar, that makes 2 meals. Ordinary days, it may make 3 meals. So, if you do more, it is better for you. So, from the point of tatawwa, that if you want to do more and you give 3 meals for a person for every missing day of your siyam, then that is even a greater reward. The same ruling, and when you are giving something to somebody, giving fidya to someone and feeding someone 3 meals, the person doesn't have to be someone which you like. No, anybody who cannot have that kind of meal, ordinarily, then you are providing him a meal which he doesn't usually get. Means poor, the widows, the orphans, the older people, those who don't usually get that. Otherwise, everybody, all Ahmads and Ali and Muhammads just go out and feed their uncles. That is not the Quran's point. The same ruling, my respected brothers and sisters, applies to pregnant and lactating women. Same ruling applies. That if they fear for themselves or for their young children because they are feeding them, lactating them, and if they fear for their own or their child or even a pregnant woman for her fetus's welfare, if she feels about it, then she can give a fidya, feed someone for every day she misses, and she does not have to fast when the Ramadan is over and she has already paid fidya and then go and fast again. No, she doesn't have to. So the old and ill and women, those who are lactating or pregnant and they have any reason, they don't have to fast again, and they can just give fidya, and that is enough. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is most merciful and most benevolent Allah. So He kept all these conditions and all these weaknesses and of His creation in His mind, and then He legislated accordingly, subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now comes the very important part, and this it says, Man kana wa man kana minkum maridan aw ala safar. It comes to travel. And those who, when any one of you who is traveling, we Muslims take the maximum disadvantage. We cheat, astaghfirullah, na'udhu billah, yukhadi'una Allah walladhina amanu, wa ma yakhda'una illa anfusihim. That they are playing these games with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Oh, I'm traveling so I don't have to fast. There are fundamental requirements that must be met, fundamental conditions that must be met of what is called a safar, what is called a travel, according to permissible. And number one fundamental requirement is that that travel must be for the permissible reason according to Islamic legislation, Islamic jurisprudence, Quran and Sunnah. Permissible reason for travel, and in obedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Means what? The reason making weather or vacation, or sightseeing, attending parties, meeting families back home, going on vacation, marriages and celebrations and travel for fundraising. Yeah, I will talk about it, that I've experienced 2-3 times, that within Bay Area, within California, Northern California, some people came from another masjid during Ramadan to one of the masjid, and I happened to be present there. And that they came during the day in a BMW, and a brand new car, 3 people, and then they asked if there is a place they can sit in the office or some place where they can eat. And they came from around a distance of about 150 miles in a BMW, in a luxury car. And so let's talk about that. So and travel for fundraising are not the excuses to miss fast. They are not the excuses. You can't do that. You're going on vacation. You can't do that. For businesses, you are traveling. If you can't travel for business, if you must travel, then you can also fast. But there is a condition that what kind of fatigue you would suffer during the travel, and if you have that much fatigue, nothing in Islamic jurisprudence is left out. It's all common sense, and we talk about it now, inshallah. Then you see the portion of the ayah is very little. وَمَنْ كَانَ مِنْكُمْ مَرِيدًا أَوْ عَلَى سَفَرٍ أَوْ عَلَى سَفَرٍ. 2 words, أو 3 words, أو على سفر, that he is traveling. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam allowed some of his companions not to fast while they were participating or preparing for ghazwat, for holy battles with the enemies of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the believers at that time. They were traveling on foot, they were traveling on horse, they were traveling on camelbacks for a long distance, which could have made them weak. That's why Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, knowing the distance they are traveling, and he allowed them. Then they were fighting during Ramadan. So some of them, those who had the greatest load of fight in the front, they were told not to fast. And those conditions are not there for those who came from in BMW to do a fundraising for another masjid. So Imam Malik said, and you see, this is all part of Islamic jurisprudence. Imam Malik said it is allowed not to fast if one is traveling and suffers the fatigue equal to traveling 16 farsakh on a camel, or equal to traveling 16 farsakh on a horse or camel back. Now, what is a farsakh? According to Islamic jurisprudence, and I try to bring for these modern Muslims, mashallah, those who are trying to find, there is no such thing as an older Muslim or a modern Muslim or an ancient Muslim. There is no such term. These are to mark the believers, to mark the people, to mark those who say something that you don't like. These terms are generated. So, Islamic jurisprudence, so what I try to do is, I'm looking at the Islamic jurisprudence, and I also look at the meaning of those words in Merriam-Webster's dictionary, or dictionary.com, or someplace else. So it's according to Islamic jurisprudence, Webster's dictionary, and many other dictionaries, one farsakh, it says 16 farsakh, right? 1 farsakh is the distance for a healthy horse if he can walk in 1 hour. And that distance for a healthy horse to walk in 1 hour is approximately 3 miles. So 16 farsakh means 48 miles. So if somebody is traveling on a horseback or camelback for 16 farsakh, and he would get fatigued if he was traveling on horseback, he can give up the fast. Not those who are driving BMWs or flying in a plane. For 16 farsakh, people coming from area where there is no time difference, they give up the fasting because they are traveling. That is not right. I mean, we should not make jokes or fun or play games with the legislations of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We don't want to follow it. Don't tell anybody you are not fasting. But one thing is to make fun and joke of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's legislations and don't follow it, and then go out and tell people and argue with them. Both are wrong. Imam Shafi'i said that travel time should be for a continuous day, for one continuous day, and or a continuous night, or 2 days with rest at night. If you are continuously traveling for one full day, that can be called when you can be given that facility to skip, but you still have to make that siyam later, and you cannot miss the prayers. Fasting, my respected brothers and sisters, is not as important as salah. We miss the salah, and we worried about fasting, and we trying to hide behind the bush for that. As-Suddi, Tafsir As-Suddi and Tafsir At-Tabari and Al-Qur'an and many others say that the sea journey is a day and a night, and on land journey that causes fatigue equal to traveling, again that word, equal to traveling 16 farsakh on a horse or camel back. Al-Qurtubi and other scholars say that a person is not a traveler. In Turkish we say it yolcu, musafir in Arabic. In Turkish the musafir becomes a guest, means guest. So a person is not a traveler just by making an arrangement, buying a ticket or making an intention of travel. All that time he is a resident, and which is in Turkish is yarle, or in Arabic it is a muqim, a local person. Those traveling in Ramadan must not stop fasting before leaving their house, and just go through your fast, do your suhoor, and if you become a traveler, your intention is for fasting. If you become a traveler, and you cannot be called a traveler according to Islamic jurisprudence unless you stop seeing the dwellings where people live. Means you came into a desert. Fasting is obligatory. Prophet Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We are going to move on very quickly to the medical benefits of Ramadan. Fasting is obligatory, and you all know better than I do. The Prophet, peace be upon him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, has said, Islam is built on 5 pillars. These are the foundations of Islam, among which is fasting of Ramadan. Whoever breaks a fast or does not fast without any legitimate excuse, he has committed a major sin. Al-Hafiz Al-Dhahabi, rahmatullah alayh, wrote in his book that Muslims who do not fast, a person calls himself Muslim, right? And then he does not fast, or tell others that I'm telling you not to fast also. There are those also. So, Muslims who do not fast or tell somebody else not to fast without a valid excuse are worse than an adulterer or a drunkard. We even doubt the jurist Hafiz Al-Dhahabi, he said that we even doubt whether that person is even a Muslim at all if he gives up siyam without having a valid reason. Types of compulsory fasting, my respected brothers and sisters. Other than Ramadan, according to glorious Quran, there are other types of fasting that are required on consecutive days. We will mention only 3 types because constraint of time, we can't discuss everything. Inshallah, we will try our best. The fasting is to expiate. When somebody is fasting, to expiate for killing someone by mistake, whether that person was a Muslim or a non-Muslim. To expiate from that thing that he by mistake killed somebody, he has to fast for 2 months. And it says mutatali, means that it is one after the other, consecutive. So there are, other than Ramadan, there are fasts which are supposed to be one after the other, one day after the other, until the limit is reached. The second one is when in the old days, in the days of arrogance, and we are back there again, astaghfirullah, that divorcing somebody's wife by zihar. Zihar was a term when some person in the old days, among the pagans of Mecca, that Arabs used to do that. And that they would tell their wife, whatever happened, they would tell their wife that you are just like the back of my mother. What it means actually, that you are like my mother to me from now on. So that is zihar. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on that did not accept that divorce, but said that you have to expiate and you have to fast these many days. Those days are supposed to be fasted one after the other, one day after the next. And number three, which we will talk about, is someone having a physical spousal relationship during Ramadan, then he has to expiate for it. So that is also mutatali, that one after the other. Other than that, example of voluntary fast we should talk about. The voluntary fasts are like the fasting of 10th of Muharram, the day of Ashura, the 10th day of the first Muslim calendar, the lunar calendar, which is called Muharram. The others are the day of Arafah. If you are not performing Hajj and you come to day of Arafah, 9th of the Hijjah, and if you fast on 9th of the Hijjah, that is a voluntary fast. Then Ayyam al-Bid. Then there are Mondays and Thursdays. Then the 6 days in the month of Shawwal. Then somebody, if he tells you that you should fast 6 days in the month of Shawwal, first of all, those 3 days after Ramadan, these are the days when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for the first day, it is haram to fast on day of Eid. You see, same fast. You have continued fasting for 30 days or 29 days, and come day of Eid, and you say, no, because day of Eid, I love fasting so much, I'll fast today also. You see, the permissible become prohibited, and now it becomes a sin. That you were fasting for those 29 or 30 days, come day of Eid, you cannot fast. It's a major sin to fast on day of Eid. But then some people would say, I will fast 6 more days in Shawwal. Well, those 6 days doesn't have to be one after the other. They don't have to be one after the other. And the fasting in, more voluntary fasting in month of Muharram and Shaban, those are, we should make sure that we should rest and fast. We should have a break, because those conditions where you must fast one after the other day are, number one is Ramadan, and those other 3 conditions which I mentioned earlier from Tafsir Ibn Jarir al-Tabari, Tafsir al-Qurtubi, and in Tafsir al-Suddi rahmatullah alayh. And these are all narrated from Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Abbas radiyallahu an and Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Umar radiyallahu an. The main restrictions: it is haram to fast on 2 Eid days, I already covered, and or on Ayyam al-Tashriq, which are 11th, 12th, and 13th. Excuse me, 13th day of the Hijjah, except for a pilgrim. You are in Hajj, you are there. You can fast on your day of Arafah, 9th of the Hijjah. That is the day of Arafah. You should fast if you want to, voluntary fast. But on 11th, 12th, 13th of the Hijjah, those people, those who are on Hajj, and they did not have an animal with them, they cannot afford to make a sacrifice, so they can fast 11th, 12th, and 13th day. And they will fast that in Mina. But on day of Hajj and doing all those things and day of Arafah, you cannot fast, because you need to be in a good spirit and good health and in a good condition, physical condition, to go through those very rigorous rituals which you perform. It is prohibited. Now this is very important, because I have seen that people disputing, and people have been following this. And we need to understand that it is prohibited to single out a Friday for fasting. That is, say that I fast every Friday. Unless that Friday comes during Ramadan. Unless that Friday comes under those conditions, like somebody kills someone by mistake, or somebody gave divorce to his wife and all that, and which we discussed earlier, and you can rewind it and listen to it from there, because we have a lot of things to cover. This is a hadith that it is prohibited to single out a Friday for fasting, unless the Friday falls in the fasting of Ramadan. This is in Fath al-Bari and in Sahih al-Bukhari, hadith number 1985. Fast on Saturday, unless it is an obligatory fast like Ramadan or some other. It is in Tirmidhi in 3rd volume, hadith number 111. It is not permitted to fast for anybody for their entire lifetime. Because there are people, say that person is Darwish, he is a Sufi, he is this, he is that, because he fasts every day of his life. It's haram in Islam. It's not permitted to fast your whole life. Allah has created you, He loves you, He has given you this life, He has told you when to fast, when not to fast, how many voluntary fasts, what day you should make the voluntary fast, and if you don't make it, there is no sin. Okay? So you benefit from halal things which Allah kulu min tayyibati ma razaqnakum. Quran is telling you to eat what I have created, and there is this fool who chose to fast whole life, and now people are start worshipping him, that he is such a pious person that he fasts. Or to fast, this is one point, not to fast all your life. The second point is not to fast for 2 days or more. Not to fast 2 days or more without a break other than Ramadan and those 3 conditions which I mentioned earlier. I think that is clear. We have 20 some minutes, so we can cover the health and medical benefits of Ramadan. Fasting, my respected brothers and sisters, is not about South Beach diet. It's not about Jenny Craig. It's not about, some diet plan or something which are sold. It's not about slim fast. Fasting has it's a totally different concept. But you would hear people would tell you that Ramadan is coming. I'm going to lose 35 pounds or 30 pounds. This is men and women both. I mean, it's not about my sisters. It's about we men are also, in those kind of things, that Ramadan is coming, I'm going to lose weight. You should lose weight of the deeds which I commit. I should strive to lose the weight of my bad deeds in Ramadan, not my physical weight. Some people gain weight in Ramadan. A lot of men and women proudly refer to the month of fasting where they will lose weight, but it's a month. It is a month. Ramadan is a month of unparalleled religious, psychological, physiological, and other health benefits. There are a lot of benefits from Ramadan. Fast breaking breaks the cycle. Fasting breaks the cycle of our good-for-nothing routines. Good-for-nothing routines. Oh, I like the taste of it, and I'll just fill it up all the way. And bad eating and our bad eating habits. It gives rest to our internal organs to recuperate and rejuvenate us from inside. I mean, you are religiously, psychologically, spiritually benefiting from it, and then you are also having a physiological and health benefit from Ramadan. The fasting, my respected brothers and sisters, you know better than I do, develops a very healthy lifestyle. A very healthy lifestyle. Look at your lifestyle during fasting. Is it not rahmah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He is telling you what to do and what not to do, and increasing the rewards for your good deeds? And you have this spiritual and psychological satisfaction deep inside your heart and mind and in your body. In your body, you want to go in prayers, you want to do ruku' and sujood, and you want to spend more time. These are the benefits and the healthy lifestyle that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala puts in you. Allah created it, told you, and you're following it. You're creating a very healthy lifestyle for yourself. And gives much needed rest to our overburdened digestive system. We just eat, and after that we are looking for tubs or some kind of digestive support, or we need this soda and that soda because we overate. We eat things we should have not eaten in that quantity. But I like it. That's the reason, and we keep doing it. So that gives us a break from all that. In a physiological context, my respected brothers and sisters, fasting is the metabolic condition. This is the definition in physiology of fasting. a metabolic condition of a person who has not eaten for 8 hours or more. Fasting is the metabolic condition of a person who has not eaten for 8 hours or more. Fasting for periods shorter than 24 hours is highly effective regimen of weight loss and to maintain the body mass index, BMI, body mass index, and it's a very good thing for people to fast. The fasting for shorter than 24 hours period is highly effective regimen for weight loss and maintain body mass indexes. Diagnostic testing, when somebody is going for blood test and urine test and this test and that test, they are telling us that don't eat for about 10 to 12 hours and then come. And surgical procedures are the same thing. That up to 12 hours they will tell you that don't eat for 12 hours, or just go on liquid diet and don't eat anything solid, or don't take this medicine and that medicine because you are going under the knife, or the diagnostic testing is going to be performed on you. Now I give you the reference from the United States National Library of Medicine, the National Institute of Health under the United States Federal Department of Health and Human Services. They say on their website, and you can look up United States National Library of Medicine, National Institute of Health, and you can look up on the website and read it for yourself, and it says fasting is associated with a wide array of potential health benefit, such as, and listen to this, blood sugar control, we go diet 7-up. Such as blood sugar control, heart health, brain function, and when it comes to brain function, believe me, we need it. Brain function, cancer prevention, and weight loss. This is National Library of Medicine, National Institute of Health of United States Federal Government. The primary health benefits of intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting means that if you are fasting for 10 hours, 12 hours, 14 hours, 16 hours, then you take an interval and you eat, and then you continue after 8, 10, 12 hours again. So that is called what? You are fasting. That is intermittent fasting. Number one benefit, if you are looking at it, for intermittent fasting is diabetes. Short-term intermittent fasting, which is our fasting, is intermittent fasting because we break fast. We don't start and go for 72 hours. That's not intermittent fasting. That intermittent fasting significantly reduces insulin resistance, which increases body's sensitivity to insulin and allows efficient transfer of glucose to cells promoting which results in promoting lower blood sugar levels. Number two, inflammation and MS, multiple sclerosis. Intermittent fasting for 1 month. Exact word on the United States government's website, National Institute of Health's website. Intermittent fasting means you ate, then you stop, and then you eat again in the evening. Intermittent fasting for 1 month, month of Ramadan, significantly decreases level of inflammatory markers. One study found that fasting reduces the level of inflammation and is beneficial in the treatment of multiple sclerosis, MS. Number three, heart health. Researchers have shown that 8 weeks of intermittent fasting reduces LDL cholesterol, the bad cholesterol, by 25% and decreases the triglyceride levels by 32%. Intermittent fasting does that. Another study of 110 obese adults showed that fasting for 3 weeks under medical supervision significantly decreases the blood pressure. Intermittent fasting, not that just stop eating for 110 days or 3 weeks. Number 4, brain function. This is for us Muslims. Brain functions and neurodegenerative disorders. A study shows that fasting improves brain function, increases nerve cell. But if you go to our countries, even Saudi Arabia, that before iftar, there is such a chaos on the streets. Cars on top of each other, people on top of each other, because they've been hungry. Astaghfirullah, na'udhu billah. About they're fasting. And, the more accidents, because people are halfway sleeping. Or, they're fighting which date or date fruit or which melon they want to buy it, so the other person cannot pick up that melon, so there is a fight for it. So that's why I said that this is good for our brain function, and we're not utilizing our brains. The study showed the fasting improves the brain function, increases nerve cell synthesis, and protects the neurodegenerative conditions such as Alzheimer and also Parkinson. This is National Institute of Health of United States federal government. Calorie intake is number 5. They say the calorie intake and metabolism. It shows the intermittent fasting boosts metabolism by increasing level of neurotransmitters which enhance the weight loss. Alternate fasting, what is alternate fasting? That is intermittent fasting. Alternate intermittent fasting is fasting 2 or 3 days a week. Do you remember something there? Muhammad al-Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wasallam used to fast 2 days a week or more. 2 to 3 days is more effective than calorie restrictions. We go after calorie restrictions, not this sugar, that sugar. The calorie restriction at increasing fat loss and preserves fasting, intermittent fasting, also preserves muscle tissues. Not only lose fat, preserve muscle tissues. The growth hormone secretion. Studies show that intermittent fasting increases the level of human growth HGH, human growth hormones, which are important in metabolism, growth, weight loss, and muscle strength. Intermittent fasting does that for you. Delay in aging and longevity. Several studies by different researchers, and the study results are collected by National Institute of Health of United States federal government, United States Department of Health and Human Services, and it says that one study, several studies show that fasting delays aging. Fasting delays aging. On mice, on rats, the study were performed that every other day, one study, the rats that were fed every other day, experienced a delayed rate of aging and lived 83% longer than the rats, those who were not fasting. So rats, beware. Fasting is good for us. Cancer prevention and effectiveness of chemotherapy. Animal and test tube studies indicate that fasting may benefit the treatment and also prevention. Treatment and also prevention of cancer, in blocking tumor formation and increase the effectiveness of chemotherapy. Somebody already has cancer, going through chemotherapy. If he can fast, intermittent fasting, and without having a negative effect on his health, if he can, then it will help in getting the effectiveness of chemotherapy. The religious and secular text confirms this is a secular text, and religious text is what the ayat we have been dealing with, and where it says that لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ, that why don't you refrain from deliberate disobedience of Allah and fast? Because then another ayah, in this ayah which we just mentioned, the other ayah لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ, was the ayah from ayah number 183, where it says, Kutiba alaykum siyam kama kutiba ala alladhina min qablikum la'allakum tattaqun. Ayah number 184 tells us at the end, وَإِن تَصُومُوا خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ إِن كُنتُمْ تَعْلَمُونَ. Means, if you fast, it is best for you. Only if you know. Only if you know. We argue, we protest, we fight that the masajids are closed for Taraweeh prayer. MashaAllah, we are such a prayer offering nation. We don't miss a prayer. But we have, and that's why we have a right to fight to have the masajid open so we can pray Taraweeh prayer. Do we realize Taraweeh is not fard? It's a sunnah. These are nafil prayers. Okay? The same people, those who are on the street fighting for Taraweeh prayer and forcing the governments to open the masajid for them. It's all about free iftar, my respected brothers and sisters, and the escapists, those who can run from the house, from the conflicts in their own houses and come to the masjid and sleep there. Sleep there. I have seen that. There are everybody who goes to masjid during Ramadan, especially on 27th Ramadan. You could see how many of them are sleeping. Open the masjid. That is a nafil prayer. We don't go to masjid for obligatory prayers, but we are fighting, we are on the streets. Laylatul Qadr, my respected brothers and sisters, on Laylatul Qadr, which is the most blessed and unique night, Inna anzalnahu fi Laylatul Qadr. One of the last 5 odd nights of Ramadan, the Quran was revealed to Muhammad al-Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wasallam, the first wahi that came to him. Iqra bi ismi rabbika alladhi khalaq. Iqra, read. We don't read. We are on the street fighting. On that night, we decorate masajid. Decorate the masjid. Fundraise and decorate the masjid and change carpet and put this incense stick and get this sweet and get that sweet. Most of it is being taken by the who. So we decorate our masajid. Supposedly, spending whole night in masjid. Wallahi, that's not true. There are a lot of good people going in there. They're spending whole night in nawafil prayer, in asking repentance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they are trying to change their lives, but a lot of them are escapists, are running from the houses, or the wife forces them out to go to masjid. It is 27th of Ramadan. Go, so he leaves and then comes to masjid and sleeps. We can experience, my respected brothers and sisters, there is a very simple recipe. How can we experience Laylatul Qadr? It's a major achievement if somebody gets to that point, that he received the benefits of Laylatul Qadr. There is a very simple recipe to receive the benefits of Laylatul Qadr. Let's talk about that. We have 6 minutes left. If we want to receive Laylatul Qadr, we need to have our means of earning have to be halal. A liquor store owner or somebody who gives money on or lives on interest or gives money on interest, and then he is looking for Laylatul Qadr, he is living in a fool's paradise. It's living in a fool's paradise. We need to say these things, my respected brothers and sisters. We need to wake ourselves up first. I need to wake myself up first. We can experience one of those Laylatul Qadr, last 5 odd nights of Ramadan, by helping in other 360 days. There are 365 days in a year, right? Muslim calendars have, the lunar calendar have less days. So whatever days there, 355, 360, minus 5. If we want to experience Laylatul Qadr in Ramadan, we should help our poorest relatives in other 300 and some days. We should help widows and orphans and inmates, paying debt of people, those who are in debt, feeding the needy, helping the struggling students, visiting the sick, providing medicine to the poor, help the homeless people, provide them shelter, provide them food, visit the cemetery, learn. We're not going to the cemetery to make dua to them. No, we are told to go to cemetery to see that this is where you are coming back. This is where you are coming. If not this cemetery, another one. You are coming there. So visit cemeteries. Practice Islam with your manners and deed, not by the length of your beard and your attire or your claim of who you are or the size of prayer mark on your forehead. That is by your deeds and your manners with others. Teach it to your families. Patch up the relationship. Paying dues to Allah. Dues of Allah to Allah. And dues of the destitutes of your community to them. Seeking His forgiveness. Forgiving and asking forgiveness from others of your family and of your friends and all that. Throughout the year. Wallahi, thumma wallahi. I guarantee that you will receive Laylatul Qadr. Otherwise, if you don't do those, you are not going to. You're not going to see Laylatul Qadr, even if Allah gives you 950 years life, just like He gave it to Nuh alayhi salam, Noah. But he lived 950 years. If we get 950 years of life, and if we don't do what we are supposed to do of these acts, no Laylatul Qadr we will receive, and no forgiveness of Allah we will receive, no matter how long our beard is, no matter how good our women cover their hair, or how, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And if you are involved in those deeds, don't hold yourself high and holy. Allah does not like mukhtal and fakhura, those who are proud of themselves. Allah don't like them. Allah don't like people, those who point finger at others, that you are doing this wrong, and then they themselves continue to do wrong. So, then there are those, my respected brothers and sisters, whose wife do not allow them to sleep at home in last 10 or 5 blessed nights, Remember, yes, there are the 10 days of this and 10 days of Rahmah and 10 days of Itqum min an-nar, that Allah would save you. Allah would save you the whole year. Why are we waiting for last 10 days of Ramadan to be saved? What happened, if for a person who missed those last 10 days of Ramadan, and he did not even pray Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and ask for forgiveness and cry in his sujood and ruku and ask Allah to forgive him. So is he not going to be forgiven? It's in the hands of Allah who He forgives. Nobody should tell you that you are hosed. Allah will not forgive you. You must do this, and then Allah will forgive you. And then some of the people, when they come to masjid, and I saw them, that when they are at masjid, because the wives kick them out. When they come to the masjid, now they are busy talking about politics and sipping teas, sitting outside. And then the imam or somebody else have to come down and tell them that please control your noise, you are bothering somebody else. We are the people, those who kick our kids out of the masjid. Say don't bring. There are signs in some masajid that says that don't bring your children here. And here is Turkey, my wonderful, beautiful, fascinating country. That if the kids, those who come to masajid for Fajr prayer, they are told that if you come for 40 days for Fajr prayer in Turkey, they are given a bike. The children, those who come to masjid to pray Fajr, pray Fajr in masjid, they get bike after 40 days. Dear brothers and sisters, we are in last 2 minutes. This is a temporary life. This life is temporary. And we have opportunities and time and reminder, Quran, continue to remind. And we have resources to choose our status in our graves. You see, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, this is a matter of choice. La ikraha fi ddin, qad tabayyana ar-rushd min al-ghayy. That there is no compulsion in religion. The good and bad have been shown. We choose our status in our grave. We choose our pedestal on the day of resurrection. Nobody else chooses it for us. Our friends can stop us. Our friend can stop us reaching and receiving the mercy of Allah. Our friends, our spouses, our parents, our children. We have to break that circle. We have to know that we are going, and everything can come back to the way it is supposed to be. This life, my respected brothers and sisters, you know better than I do, is about how we are making our future life. How we are using this life to make our future life. And let's not waste it, my dear brothers. I look at my deeds and the condition of the community, political and the majority of religious leaders, and I say to myself, my respected brothers and sisters, honestly, wallah, I say to myself, how devastating would it be for people like me that on the day of judgment, I am told that there is in this infinite vastness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's paradise, I'm told that there is no room for you. Due to my own arrogance, due to my own lack of knowledge, due to my own not spending time with Quran and trying to understand the message of Allah, due to my lack of practice of Quran and lack of heeding to the rights of Allah and to the rights of people. My respected brothers and sisters, we are in Ramadan. 20 days from now, we will return, unfortunately, we will return to our routine. Wallahi, if we do that, we did not learn or benefited from anything from Ramadan. But nothing but added more bad deeds to our accounts and hurt ourselves by remaining. We hurt ourselves. If we are not learning anything of Quran and thinking about Quran and taking that lesson from Ramadan and applying it into the other 11 months, then what we did is just we remain hungry and thirsty. We shouldn't fast if we are determined to do that. Humankind, my respected brothers and sisters, have a lot to learn about the benevolence and mercy and infinite forgiveness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He is the most merciful, most beneficent, most loving God. Call Him. Stay connected with Him so we can benefit from Him. أقول قولي هذا واستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. We will make dua. And I request you to please share these videos with as many people as you can. Ask people, do you know, if you are on Facebook, do you know that there is a program like this? There are many others. I'm nobody. Those who are offering these programs. But it has to be a program which shakes us up and wakes us up. And so we can benefit from it. Allahumma rabbana atina fid dunya hasana wa fil akhirati hasana wa qina adhab an-nar wa qina adhab al-qabr wa qina adhab al-hashr wa qina adhab jahannam wa adkhilna al-jannata ma al-abrar birahmatika ya aziz ya ghaffar ya rabbal alamin. اللهم إنا نسألك إيمانا كاملا ويقينا صادقا ورزقا واسعا وقلبا خاشعا ولسانا ذاكرا وحلالا طيبا وتوبة نصوحا وتوبة قبل الموت وراحة عند الموت والمغفرة عند الحساب والفوز بالجنة والنجاة من النار. لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إنا كنا من الظالمين. ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين وتب علينا يا مولانا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. وصلى الله تعالى على خير خلقه محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. والفاتحة. لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله. السلام الله عليكم ورحمته وبركاته. Thank you for joining us. Inshallah next week, same time. Assalamu alaikum.